Let's do question 5. So here we are given sine theta equals 0.45 and we have to determine cosine of pi by 2 minus theta. So I'm going to use this trigonometric identity which says that sine theta is identical to cosine of pi by 2 minus theta. Otherwise, we can say that cosine of pi by 2 minus theta is identical to sine theta. So when we use this identity, here we have this cosine of pi by 2 minus theta. So this is identical to sine theta. And we are already given the value of sine theta, and this equals 0.45. So therefore, cosine of pi by 2 minus theta, this equals 0.45. Now let's do question 6. So here we are given tangent of pi by 2 minus theta equals negative 5.32, and we have to determine cotangent of theta. So I'm going to use this trigonometric identity which says that cotangent of theta equals tangent of pi by 2 minus theta. So I write this as cotangent of theta. This equals tangent of pi by 2 minus theta. We are already given the tangent of pi by 2 minus theta. This equals negative 5.32. So therefore, the cotangent of theta, this equals negative 5.32. Let's do question 7. So here we are given sine of theta minus pi by 2 equals 0.73, and we have to determine cosine of negative theta. So first I'm going to use this trigonometric identity, that is trigonometric identity for negative angles. Cosine of negative theta equals cosine of theta. So first I write down this as cosine of theta, and this equals, I can now write down this cosine theta as sine of pi by 2 minus theta. So in the next step, I write down this as sine of pi by 2 minus theta. Now I'm going to factor negative from these two terms. That is, when I do that, I get this is sine of, I put this bracket, and I'm going to factor negative from these two terms. So when I do that, I have to flip the terms. That is, this theta comes in front, and then this pi by 2 goes next. So it becomes negative of theta minus pi by 2. You can in fact verify this by distributing this negative. When you distribute this negative, we get negative times of theta is negative theta, and negative times of negative pi by 2 is positive pi by 2. So which is what we have here, that is negative theta plus positive pi by 2. So we factored correctly. Now we can consider this expression as some angle, this complete expression as some angle. And so this is in the form of this identity, that is sine of any negative angle, and this equals negative of sine of that angle. So if we let this whole expression as some angle, we have this form, that is sine of negative of this angle. This can be written as negative of sine of that angle, that is negative sine of theta minus pi by 2. Now we go back to the question and see that we are already given this value, that is sine of theta minus pi by 2 is given as 0.73. So therefore this equals negative of, I replace this quantity as given in the question, which is 0.73. So we see that the value of this cosine of negative theta, this equals negative 0.73. This is cosine of negative theta. Let's do question 8. So here we are given cotangent of negative theta, and this equals 7.89, and we have to determine tangent of theta minus pi by 2. So first I'm going to rewrite the given information using the trigonometric identities. So here we have cotangent of negative theta, so this equals 7.89. So I'm going to use this identity, that is cotangent of negative theta. This equals negative of cotangent theta. So I can write down this as a negative of cotangent of theta. And this is given as 7.89 because cotangent of negative theta, equals 7.89. Now let's focus only on this part. So we consider this as equation. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative. So when I do that, I get cotangent of theta. This equals negative of 7.89. So now we will consider this as like the given information, or otherwise we say that we have converted the given information into this form, that is cotangent of theta equals negative 7.89. Now let's see how to determine this expression, that is tangent of theta minus pi by 2. So I write tangent of theta minus pi by 2. First, I'm going to factor a negative from these two terms, that is from this term as well as from these two terms. And when I do that, I get tangent of, I put this bracket and then I put another bracket for factoring. So we just have to flip the terms when you factor negative. So it becomes pi by 2 minus of theta. So this is expression, that is tangent of theta minus pi by 2 is written as tangent of negative of pi by 2 minus theta. Now we consider this as the angle, that is tangent of negative of some angle. And we can utilize this trigonometric identity, which says that tangent of a negative angle equals negative of tangent of the angle. So this can be written as this equals negative of tangent of the angle expression, that is pi by 2 minus theta. And now we can use this identity, that is cotangent of theta equals tangent of pi by 2 minus theta, or otherwise tangent of pi by 2 minus theta equals cotangent of theta. So now we have the same expression, that is negative of tangent of pi by 2 minus theta. So therefore this equals, we can replace this quantity by cotangent of theta. So we have written this expression tangent of theta minus pi by 2. This is basically equal to negative of cotangent theta. And we already rewritten the given information, that is cotangent of negative theta equals uh, cot theta. From this we have written as cot theta equals negative 7.89. So we now replace cotangent of theta as negative of 7.89. So we have this negative, and I'm replacing cotangent of theta as negative 7.89. This is negative 7.89. So we have two negative, that is when you multiply negative with negative, we get positive. So therefore this equals 7.89 as a positive quantity. So we say that tangent of the expression tangent of theta minus pi by 2, and this equals a positive quantity, that is 7.89.